Welcome to She Sells Radio. Oh, my friend, we are going to have a really, really incredible conversation today about the power of the feminine. And I also want to start out just because I've gotten so committed in my life, in my social media, in my podcast to just like really sharing where I'm at. Because I think that's really important because it's a journey for all of us. And so what I'm going to share with you today are about some insane things that have happened, even just in the past few days, as I've really practiced leaning far more into the feminine than in the masculine. And I'm also going to say up front, yesterday was one of those days where the energy level was so high and it was like things were manifesting, like dream things coming in so fast. One of my friends, my team member, and I were both feeling it, and we were talking. We are like, "What is going on today? Like, this is wild." And honestly, I don't know if it's like a hangover from that or what. I woke up today and I feel like I could use 20 hours of sleep. Now, it's not a bad thing. It's just where I'm at. So if my energy is a little less than normal, that's all that's going on. But I am so committed to this message and I'm so excited about this topic. And I've been last night, Jason and I went out to dinner and we were talking about everything that was going on. And I was like, I feel like we need a month to talk about everything that's happened because it's been so much so fast. And this also has come on the tail end of what I'm kind of equating now to like my Moses in the desert experience. Like, I don't know how much you study biblical stories or historic Christianity. I always think it's so interesting. And I love Catherine Ponder books. So, by the way, if you have any sort of old religious wounding that says you can't be religious or spiritual and make a lot of money, go read Catherine Ponder. It'll change your life. But I've been reading her The Millionaire Moses book in the mornings. And so Moses had this experience of, 40 years in the desert after lavish abundance in Egypt. And so anyway, the whole point of that is it was very much an experience for him of learning to step day by day in faith with being provided for. And I've had a lot of those experiences myself this summer, which I talked about last week. And I think I've talked about it actually throughout the summer, but I feel like I'm at the end of it. And I feel like there's so much wisdom that's been gleaned. But I did talk about it last week on when it's not an instant manifestation. So you can go back and you can listen to that episode if you want context. But there's been a lot of those moments for me this summer of like going into inquiry, going into, not being attached to things having to be a certain way, getting really, really, really strengthened in my own spiritual connection and what that looks like for me. And I also shared, gosh, I can't remember what episode it was. When this comes out, it will be probably about a week before about not fitting into a box. And I want to share a result of some of the things I talked about in that episode where I really just surrendered some of the goals that I had been going for and almost not death gripping, but being very clear in my mind that they had to come in a certain way. And when I released and surrendered how they were going to come in, magic happened. And it's happened in the past few days. And so I'm going to share it with you because it all relates to the power of the feminine. And the feminine it's about the unexpected. It's about the illogical in a good way. It's about not following a specific formula or procedure or feeling like you have to say this exact thing to this exact prospect in this exact order, or else you're not going to make the sale. It's about intuition. It's about connection. It's relational. It's snapping your fingers and this is the result that I want. And here's the outcome, right? Here it comes. So I've been really practicing surrender and leaning into that. But there was a period, especially at the beginning of the summer, where I wasn't. And so much had shifted in my plans and what I thought was going to be happening versus what did happen with team and different aspects of my life. And I found there was almost a period of like feeling like whiplash of, wait, what just happened? I thought I knew the direction everything was going in, and now it's totally different. And there was a part of me that clung to it should have been that a certain way. And here's what I know now. Um, it's not. And when we're tapped in and when we're connected to our vision and when you're connected to whatever your higher power is, your higher source, things happen that are unexpected. And we can know when those things happen that they're truly happening for us. And we can also feel in those moments feelings of this still feels like it sucks, or this still feels like I'm disappointed, right? We experience those human emotions. And what I want to share today is the power that unlocks when you get really, really open to leaning into the feminine way of creating, the feminine way of doing business, the feminine way of selling. So I'll share a bit of my own experience here. And I'll tell you too, about a week ago, if I had heard someone's like say stuff like this, I probably would have been like, that's nice for you. Like, I'm just going to be so honest. I probably would have been like, I would really appreciate something like that right now, because there was such a period this summer of refining and of things not feeling like the instant pot results that we all love having. But what I'm very clear on now is when we surrender the outcome and when we get really clear on the essence of what we want, but we don't make it have to be one certain way or one certain client or one certain person, it leaves room for opportunity. It leaves room for new insights, new downloads, unexpected things that you didn't think could possibly happen to come in. And so the shifts, the things that have happened this week since I surrendered, I shared in the episode about trying to fit into a box that I had this vision for, wanting to have a certain type of corporate partnership. And in my mind, it was going to be a certain industry because that's what Elise has done before. That's what I know. Well, I know a lot of industries. I've been in the game for quite a while now, so I know a lot, but this is an industry I really like working in. And so I've been doing outreach for off and on for probably 8 months, looking for a certain type of partnership. Now, granted, there was a big period of that where like I wasn't really proactively doing it, but I really started this, I would say last December. Like I really got serious about having this type of partnership. Outreach, nothing happened. When I surrendered it this week and made the decision that I was done trying to micromanage how it happened, within 48 hours of that decision, 3 opportunities that were exactly what I've been wanting to create for the past 8 months came in, like boom, 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 boom. And it was all stuff where you're like, where did this come from? Referrals from clients, referrals from girlfriends, one inbound opportunity from someone I met 8 years ago on LinkedIn, hadn't frankly thought about in about 8 years, and reaches out and is like, I've been watching your stuff. I want to talk with you about coming in to train our team. And it was such a powerful reminder. And outside of that, there's so many other things that have happened that I'm literally sitting here, I'm like, I don't think I can remember all of it truly that's come in such a short amount of time after surrendering the how and after really surrendering the outcome. And as Jason and I were at dinner last night, we were talking about it. It's like, it is so incredible what happens when we get out of the way. It is so incredible what happens when we relax. Because that was honestly the biggest shift in my energy is I started really releasing attachment to a lot of things that I felt like had to be a certain way, I'd say several months ago. And so gradually it's like I felt my energy up level. I felt my state of relaxation kick in. I felt so chill about things, even though I've also been so unknown about so many things. And I always know, like when you're in that state, so you may have heard this before, but it's so true. Money doesn't bring peace. Peace brings money. When you're in that state, when you're feeling relaxed, when you know that your vision is coming, when you know that even if it's not the vision you thought, but it's the essence of the vision that you wanted, when you know it's coming, but you're not trying to micromanage the process and you're not trying to micromanage the timeline, it creates that space for opportunity and for you to have that quantum leap and for you to go from A to Z in what feels like a really short amount of time. And when I look back on my life again and again and again, that has been the lesson in the huge quantum leap moments. It hasn't been about working harder. In fact, I was working really hard on this certain type of opportunity and the needle wasn't moving. So it's not that there's not some action required, because there usually is. I mean, not always, but there usually is. But it's such a different way of thinking and being, because it really is mostly about who you're being than what you're doing, that creates that quantum leap experience for you. And so I wanted to come in and talk about that because I've been having conversations with the most amazing women over the past week and a half. We did this really cool roundtable last week for women who are already at the 6-figure level, who are ready to scale to 50K months or beyond. And I think we're going to do a recording of part of that roundtable tomorrow. So you can tune in and listen to that and kind of hear behind the scenes what the conversation was. But the conversations have been, for so many women, it's like, it felt so hard to get to that 6-figure mark for many women, that the thought of then trying to go to multi-6 or 7 figures, even if it's not conscious, subconsciously, your body and your brain will be like, like, it was that hard to get there. And now you're telling me I'm going to double it, triple it, quadruple it, 10x it. Like, no way. If I value any sleep, if I value any rest, if I value any pleasure, like, I'm not going to do that. We're going to stay right where we are, because at least I know I can survive here, right? So we have to remember that's how the brain is wired, is for survival, not for you thriving. But so these conversations have been with these women, and it's like shifting the mindset. And I didn't understand this until I had my own experiences with it. But shifting the mindset from, you making that quantum leap in your career, in your business, in your finances. And maybe the quantum leap for you isn't going to 50K months. Maybe it's going to 100K months. Maybe it's going to $1 million months. Maybe it's getting your first 5K or 10K month. I don't care what it is, but wherever you are on your journey, think about that quantum leap moment. It is not going to be about efforting more. Now, can you get there by efforting more? Yes, you can. Will you find yourself depleted, exhausted, worn out, burnt out, health issues, resentful? Absolutely. And that was my journey. And if you've been listening for any amount of time, you may know my story. If not, I've got tons of episodes that share more of the story, but that was how I did it for so long in my life. And in my mid to late 20s, I found myself in corporate, making low 6 figures, being a top producer on the leaderboard. But inside, I was in so much struggle. I was in constant fear about money and whether it was going to show up next month or not, and always judging how much I was spending, and like really just death gripping every penny. I was having anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I was struggling with an eating disorder. I was in a really not good marriage. And I didn't know any other way other than to just put my head down and pour myself into my work and work harder to try to get better results. Because I really thought, well, if I can just make more money and stay number one or beat so-and-so on the leaderboard, then I'll feel secure. Then I'll feel good. Not at all. Not at all. It was the opposite result. And when you're coming from that energy, there's never an amount of money or never a result that will make you feel good and make you feel worthy. And when I shifted things in my life, and when I started to look at, there's got to be a different way. And I started studying with incredible female mentors who showed me a totally different way of doing business and making money than what I'd been taught in my very male-dominated corporate environments. Everything shifted. That's when I healed the eating disorder. That's when I decided to value myself enough to get out of the relationship and to start over. That's when I left a lot of friendships and relationships behind that were frankly matches for who I was at the time, but were really dysfunctional, really unhealthy. that's when I healed my relationship with money. And that's when more money started coming in far easier. It wasn't ever about working harder or efforting harder. And I want to say this too, because we all have male and female energy in us. It doesn't matter what your gender is. We all have both. But for us as women, we naturally get the best results when we lean more into our feminine. And I'll take like 1 minute here to do a super high level deep dive if you're not familiar with the difference between the two. But there's masculine and feminine in nature, in all of us, and super quick. So the masculine it's about structure, logic, order. It's formulaic. It's outcome oriented. It's about the hustle. It's about the pursuit. And so even if you think about in the sales world and in the business world in general, it's super masculine. I don't care what industry you're in. It's generally very masculine. And look, there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, especially, a lot of I've worked with tons of men over the years. I love the men in my life. And that really, like, that suits them well. That's how they're wired. But for us as women, it's not the right playbook for us. And it's not that we don't need some elements of that in how we approach business. But for us as women, when we lean into our feminine, and the feminine is relational, the feminine is about fun. It's about enjoyment. It's about the experience. It's about the journey. It's why you probably generally care how your office looks and feels and how your relationships with other people go. And it's why you don't feel great, like pushing someone into doing something that doesn't feel super aligned for you just to hit a quota at the end of the month. It's about the illogical. It's about the quantum leap. It's about intuition. I think this is so important. It's so intuitive. It's not about, let me get this list of 100 people and cold call and say the same thing over and over. Can we do that? Yes. Can we play the numbers game? Yes. Can we get a result with that? Yes. Will you feel burnt out, exhausted, blah, like you hate your life at the end of it? Most likely. So this is a different approach. This is about tuning in and saying, I feel super inspired to reach out to these 5 people today because these are the really ideal clients I'd love to work with. Let me start with them. And then I'm going to be guided to the next step. So it's not that we don't have structure and processes and systems, because we do need those, especially as you're scaling to 7 and then 8 figures and beyond. That is important. You've got to have the support and structure of the masculine to be able to be in your feminine. But it's a totally different approach. And I wanted to share that example from my own experience of just the past few days of like, I was so in my masculine energy with this result needs to happen this way, and I'm going to do this type of outreach, and nothing was happening. And when I finally surrendered it and said, I'm open, like I am open, relationships came in and sent the referrals. It was easy. They showed up. I didn't have to go out and like force or push anything. And so it's just one example of how this works and how the power of the feminine is truly the thing that if you're ready for a different way of creating results, if you're ready for the up level, if you're ready for way more money, way more ease, way more enjoyment, way more pleasure, it's gonna be by leaning into your feminine energy. And it takes practice. It takes more mental discipline than anything, I would say, because what I found in my experience and in speaking with the clients I work with, so many of them are in male dominated environments, or they're in corporate, or they've never really heard of this stuff before. And it's like, how could that possibly work? Right? How could I make more money by it being easier? I'm here to tell you, when you let it be easy, when you lean in to receiving, when you get really great at honing in on your intuition, following the nudges, taking stretchy action, but not hustling burnout action, that's when the quantum leap comes. That's when stuff shows up and you're like, really, that was all I had to do? Like, I can't believe it was that simple. And it is also about, for us as women, being open to receiving more. And I work with a lot of clients who come from backgrounds of whether sexual assault or alcoholic parents, or just things that happen in life where they were taught it wasn't safe to receive. And they were taught that it wasn't safe to be a woman. And that was frankly so much of my conditioning over the years. I was scared of my femininity. I always, I have so many stories around that. I don't think I'm going to go into it right now for today's episode, but just know, like, I get it. If there's a part of you that doesn't feel safe being visible, that doesn't feel safe receiving, I totally get it. And that's honestly where we have to start first. If you're going to really lean into a different way of making money, growing your business, growing your sales, it's about healing those parts of you that don't feel safe receiving. Because when we don't feel safe receiving, guess what? We don't receive money. We don't receive attention. We don't receive the praise we want. And deep down, we want it, but we block it because there's a part of it that really doesn't feel safe for us. So it's this whole journey, leaning into the feminine, the power of the feminine. It's a whole journey. I used to shy away from it. I used to think I had so many hangups about the feminine. I thought it was weak. Then I thought it was scary. Then I thought, then I judged it. And all of those aspects of me were really shadow aspects I had to heal in order to step into owning who I am as a woman, owning how I create results in my life, quantum leaps in my life, owning that it's not like the men in my life, and that's okay. And it doesn't make us wrong. And it doesn't make us, I mean, there's nothing weak about a woman, right? It doesn't make us weak. It doesn't make us anything else. But it is about knowing and embracing how you're wired and knowing that the more you lean into that, the more you'll have what you want and the faster it will come to you as well. And so I'm super excited because I'm going to be doing a series in all of September about leaning into you receiving more and leaning into the feminine and leaning into you stepping up to that next level of prosperity and abundance and opportunity in your life, and about it not having to be harder, but about you getting more into alignment with who you are, with the truth of who you are, and up-leveling your sense of worthiness and up-leveling your sense of allowing into your life, stepping up financially. It's not about hustle and burnout. It's about alignment and allowing. It really is. And I want you to write that down. It's not about hustle and burnout. It's about alignment and allowing in your life. And so in this series, it's going to be phenomenal. I've got so many great conversations lined up for you. I've got Jason Thomas Robustelli, hubby, my hubby, he's coming on to share his perspective on some of these, because I feel like my listeners always love that. I always hear from you when he comes on that you enjoyed the episode. So I've got him coming on too. And we're going to be talking about this. And one of the things that I'm so excited to share, and you'll hear me talking about some this month too, is that the 50K Club, which is my signature program for women who are ready to step into more and receive more, is now open for application. We're kicking off in September. And it's this phenomenal. I want to take a few moments and speak to this because it's the most phenomenal community of women who are ready to say more. They've already hit that 6-figure level. It's like they've already, for many of them, done the hustle thing, done the burnout thing, done the exhaustion thing. They got to 6 figures and they realized, okay, I can like kind of pay my bills now, but I'm really desiring more in my life. But oftentimes we didn't see that growing up. We didn't see it modeled, or maybe we saw our dads do it or men do it, but we didn't see women making that amount of money. We didn't see women making $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. We didn't see that modeled. And so there's a big part of us that says, how is that possible for me? I should be satisfied with what I have. And I'm here to say, I don't care what your number is, but you deserve to have what you need to live your most epic lifestyle and to live your most aligned lifestyle as well. And not for everyone, but for many of us, it requires a great deal of money. And so that's what this community is all about. And it's about being in relationship with other women like you who are going for it, who are unapologetic about achieving their goals, who want to be with like-minded women who are saying yes. But again, it's not about like they're done with the hustle. They're done with the burnout. They want to do it by leaning into more of the feminine, intuition, relationship, community, connection, spiritual guidance, whatever that looks like for you. And when we ran this program previously in the spring, it's a 12-month mastermind now, but we did it for 6 months for the first group. 40% of the women who came in went from a $10,000 month to a $50,000 month or more within 1 to 6 months. It was incredible to see what they did. Like that type of, I want you to imagine right now, that type of up level that fast for you. And then the other women, I mean, not to be outdone, the other women did things like doubling their income while working a couple of hours a day, like far less than they'd been working, or getting that major promotion in corporate that they thought was never going to happen for them, or leaving a soul-sucking partnership that was paying them okay, but was draining their energy and was like draining their soul, and launching their own company. And so it's really about women who are no longer available to play small and who are ready to step into the fullness of who they are, step into everything that they desired, and who are really looking around saying, if not now, when? Like, if I don't do this now, when is it going to happen? So you can check out elisearcher.com/50K club if you want to learn more. It is an application program. We're capping it at 20 women. We kick off in September. But check it out. And if it speaks to you, book an application call where it's the super high vibe community. We're going to be traveling around to this most amazing locations and retreats together over the course of the next 12 months. There's phenomenal guest mentors I bring in to help you up-level all areas of your life, people who are normally really challenging to get access to. We're going to be writing a book together. That's exciting. So if you want to add best-selling author to your bio, and that's something you want to do, guess what? That will happen for you this year as well. So we're going to be collaborating together on a book, and then we're going to be promoting all the women super heavily on the podcast and in social. So if growing your platform and your brand is part of the vision for you as you step into your greater levels of abundance and opportunity, you're going to get to do that too. You receive coaching from me. You have the mastermind with the other women to really up level. And it's about all areas. It's about mindset, abundance, doing the inner work. And there's also the strategy, whether you've got you're looking to grow and scale your team, or you're looking to improve your sales processes and systems, or your marketing. Like, I got you there. I got longer than I care to admit in the business world, helping people do that and getting phenomenal results. I'm close to 20 years of doing that now. So it's all of it. It's all of it, but it is about that different energy, that different approach, and about you finding out what is your own version of the quantum leap for you, and really being open to saying yes to more. So over the course of the next few weeks, again, we're going to be talking about this. And here's what I would say is, whether the 50K club is right for you, and it is application, and you do already need to be at the 6-figure level to apply. So if you're not, keep listening, tune in. You're going to get so many good mindset shifts anyway from the content. You can always check out the 10K club, elisearcher.com/10K club. We get you to your 10K month. And then from there, we move you up to your 50K month. But either way, whether it's right for you or not, or something you're interested in or not, I want you to tune in and really focus in the month of September on opening up and expanding your wealth consciousness and expanding your vision of what's possible in your life, and starting to ask yourself, like, if she could do it, why couldn't I? If she could do it, you're going to hear from some of the women in the community. If she could do it, why couldn't I? And really just opening up to possibility in your life, and start to look for ways this month to expand your wealth consciousness, to expand your life, to expand what you say yes to, and start to really open up to, it actually is possible. Or if it could be possible, what would that look like for me? So it's going to be a phenomenal series. And again, the program, if it's speaking to you and you want to book an application call and you'll speak with me directly on that, we'll see if it's a good mutual fit. elisearcher.com/50K club. You can go check it out. As always, I'm so grateful for you being a listener. I'm really excited to have this up-leveled conversation with you this month around stepping into way more in all areas of your life. And I also invite you to practice leaning more into the power of the feminine as we step into this next month and embark on this journey. So I hope this served you. I love hearing your biggest takeaways. I'm at Elise Archer on all social. Always so grateful when you tag and share with your friends. And I'll see you on our next episode of She Sells Radio. Bye.